It's the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat from the Pepsi Center in Denver as Miami's Dwayne Wade is able to get to the tip. This is Adrunas Ilgauskas, played by Nene. Miami coming off a loss last night that stopped the win streak at 9. Here's Bosch from deep.
One of the things you don't want to do is let Chris Bosch get an initial open look and get that stroke down early in the game. That's one of his favorite spots on the floor. And this will be a little bit different tonight for Miami without LeBron James playing. They'll have to change their concepts offensively to incorporate other people.
The game is tied at 2. Bosch played by Martin. Rebounded by Aflalo, and here comes Billups. Denver's last game this past Tuesday, they blew out the Phoenix Suns by 34 points. Billups and Ilgauskas able to handle. Last night, the Clippers put up 44 points in the first quarter against the Heat. A Miami team that is just superb defensively. But 44 points in the first quarter.
Shot 17 for 22. Just exploded out of the gates.
Here is Wade. Rebounded by Nene. For Denver, it is game 2 of a 4-game homestand. Open shot for Billups, and then Arroyo was able to close. Nene. Yes. All right, thank you, Kevin. A chilly 37-degree night here in the Mile High City. Sellout crowd, better than 19,000 packed into the Pepsi Center. The NBA on TNT is presented by the United States Marine Corps. Miami Heat facing the Denver Nuggets, game 2 of the Thursday night doubleheader. Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, the czar, Mike Fratello, David Aldridge working the sideline. And as reported earlier by Ernie Johnson, LeBron James not playing tonight due to a sprained left ankle, missing his first game of the season. Nuggets have an 8-6 lead. Billups had that shot deflected by Ilgauskas. There's James Jones starting for LeBron James and knocks down a three-pointer.
An early start is so important for the Miami Heat. The last 7 games, they've come out of the gates very slowly, getting into their hotel room about 4:30 in the morning last night. We'll see how they come out this evening.
Oh, nice pass, and then they hits on the reverse.
Well, where we've seen a lapse tonight right out of the gates is defensively. Miami has not played well. Denver has gotten whatever it has wanted in the paint.
Miami with a record of 30-10 and a virtual tie with Boston for the best record in the Eastern Conference. Bosch lost it. Aflalo coming off a career night, 31 points this past Tuesday on the blowout of Phoenix. Here is Kenyon Martin, appearing only in his 9th game of the season, coming back from the knee surgery. Wade looking for the jumper, changed his mind. Arroyo's had the hot hand. That's a 2-pointer for Carlos Arroyo, who's been shooting so well from beyond that 3-point line.
I think Miami will be pretty comfortable here tonight offensively without LeBron, because Dwayne Wade is very accustomed to taking over the offense, and then you've got shooters all around him, so he's going to try to create offense for everybody else.
A little bit of zone show by Miami suddenly.
Here is Carmelo Anthony with a rainbow. Carmelo, I thought, received a rousing ovation, a smattering of boos, as he has heard in recent days, with the speculation continuing concerning the possibility of that package deal 3-team trade. We'll get back to that in a moment as a 3-second violation is called, and the ball back to Denver's Eric Dampier checks back in. We're talking earlier with George Karl about what the effects have been on the team, and he was very candid about it. He said there's no question that we have been affected by all the speculation. He said, hey, these guys read the papers, listen to radio and television, which is refreshing to hear, because most guys say, no, we never read the papers.
That's right.
You know, we don't pay any attention at all to rumors that are circulating. Aflalo rimming out, but it's kept alive. Here's Martin. Wide open shot, came up with air, and it's deflected out of bounds by the Nuggets.
Well, the other thing George Karl talked about was that the first rumor of a possible Carmelo trade came August 15th in the summer. So he said, think about this. Since August 15th, our players and our coaching staff, our organization has been hearing about a possible trade on a daily basis. He said it just wears you out, and they're trying their best. I think they're competing, they're doing a good job, but it can't help but hurt you in the big picture.
Wade taking it from Bosch. Miami last night in LA lost to the Clippers 111-105. Clippers playing so well. Aflalo with a hard driving move, and a blocking foul is called on Jones, who's been very good at taking charges. How about the Clippers? They've won 8 of their last 11 games. Last night they stopped Miami's 9-game win streak and a 13-game road win streak. The NBA record for most road wins consecutive, the Lakers with 16 straight back in 71-72.
Well, you have Baron Davis back healthy again now, playing with some enthusiasm. Jordan in the middle is, I mean, he's just done a wonderful job of blocking shots, getting on the offensive boards, running the floor. The rookie is sensational, and this team is really, right now, they're a dangerous basketball team.
And how about Eric Gordon on the outside? With Griffin and Gordon, you've got 2 guys who can close games and really take over offensively. That's an impressive team.
Here's Jones for 3, and it's handled by Nene. Miami with a 2-point lead, just under 6 remaining in this first quarter. See the double on Anthony. Arroyo cheating over. Carmelo Anthony with his second field goal.
Anthony will be a tough guard for Jones. He's a little too strong. Jones will be happy if he settles for jump shots the entire night. It's when he goes down and posts up or starts to put it on the floor and backs him down.
Beautiful move by Wade, but came up short. Aflalo coming off the screen and rebounded by Dampier. Dampier coming out early for Ilgauskas. Eric Spoelstra telling us earlier, this is a mental toughness game for us. Without LeBron playing back-to-back, as the Czar mentioned, coming in the early morning hours as Chris Bosh again shows the touch. And he was very upset about his team giving up the 44 points in the first quarter to the Clippers last night. In fact, he said, then we got interested as Anthony is fouled by Dampier. And Eric Spoelstra saying, we actually went through a 7-game slide even though we won 6 of those games. Continues concerning Carmelo Anthony and the speculation of a possible trade. For more of that, let's go over to David Aldridge. David.
Well, Marcus, long on-again, off-again trade talk involving Carmelo Anthony is, from what I'm told, on again. In fact, it never really was off. The sides have continued to talk over the last several days. They've gone quiet, but here's what I was told this evening. Everything's still subject to change, of course, but the likelihood is that this deal will get done next week, which means Carmelo Anthony will go to New Jersey, along with Chauncey Billups. And rookie forward Derek Favors and 2 first-round picks will go here to Denver. Also, Rip Hamilton involved in the deal from Detroit. He would go to New Jersey. Troy Murphy would go to Detroit. A lot of other players involved in it too. The reason why it's taking so long and why this deal still may not happen is because Denver is determined to do the right deal. They are only going to trade Chauncey Billups once. They want to maximize everything that they can get for him. And it doesn't hurt that those potential draft picks get better and better with each New Jersey loss, Marv.
David, it's appeared that several times that complicated 3-team trade had been worked out between the Nuggets, the Nets, and the Pistons, a deal involving 15 players, perhaps more.
Well, I spoke to a couple of the front office people from the Nets organization today, and there was speculation out there that there was a deal done last weekend. We see the pitch ahead to Carmelo for the finish. That there was a deal done last weekend, and Denver pulled the deal off the table. That was not true at all. It never happened. They never had an agreement. All they've done is constantly keep working at, keep plugging new pieces in different places. So the Nets wanted to make sure that people understood that's not what happened. That's not what took place.
I'm not sure I believe anything anymore. I mean, seriously, if a trade is imminent, why is Carmelo out here? Normally, if you're going to make a trade and it's imminent, you sit those guys down, because one sprained ankle and all of a sudden the whole thing is off. We've had so much speculation the last week. There's so many rumors, so many things going on. Who really knows what to believe?
Steve, the reason why you have to play him is in case the Nets should suddenly decide it's too much that they have to give up. You can't afford being in 7th place right now in the Western Conference playoff. It's going to be very close down the stretch. So if in fact it didn't happen, Denver's got to win games.
Well, yeah, but I guess that's my point. It's not imminent. If it were imminent, these guys would be sitting out. So it's still a possibility. So to me, nothing's changed, but we'll see.
Al Harrington attempting a 3. Harrington, one of the players mentioned as a possible addition to that deal, and there are also, as Arroyo comes up wide on that shot, there are also other teams interested in making a trade with Denver. The Knicks have been kind of under the radar quiet, although there was a report today they're trying to work something out. As Aflalo hits for 3 with Memphis involved, and Chicago's been mentioned, Houston's been mentioned. So it goes on and on.
But the key to the whole thing is, will Carmelo Anthony sign the extension that would be necessary for a team to give up a lot of assets as Bosch misses the jumper? Because New Jersey's not going to give up all these picks and young players only to have Carmelo not sign that extension and then walk this summer as a free agent.
It hasn't been made clear, as Carmelo rims out, as to whether Carmelo has agreed or has not agreed to sign the extension if a trade would be made.
I would be shocked.
The Nets.
Yeah, I would be shocked if anything happened as we see a foul.
Oh, no question.
Denver, but yeah,
there's nothing going to happen with a trade unless. Here's a look at that proposed trade, give or take a player or 2 or 3. But the Nets would get Carmelo Anthony, Chauncey Billups, and then from Detroit, Rip Hamilton, Sheldon Williams, Anthony Carter will come from Denver. Detroit gets Troy Murphy and Johan Petro from the Nets. And you see Denver would get a list of players, starting with Devin Harris.
And it should be pointed out that the reason Detroit would be involved is to shed the contract of Rip Hamilton to save some money and to try to move forward with some cap flexibility.
And the key man in the trade coming to Denver would be the rookie out of Georgia Tech, Derek Favors. Mike Miller moves it across with 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this first quarter, and the Nuggets up by 2. Nice move by Wade. Czar, from the coaching point of view, with players, how do you handle all the trade speculation with guys obviously affected by what is going on? As Arrington, off the nice pass from Anthony, is able to score.
First of all, think about how much time we just spent on this. Imagine what the locker room is like, with the players talking about it since August 15th, like Steve said a while ago. And the other thing is, the best thing you can do is, Howard misses the follow, be honest with them. Let them know what you know, share it with them. That helps them hopefully get a little settled as Billups makes the driving layup.
Well, George Karl telling us that he would feel really bad for Chauncey Billups, a Denver native.
We saw his emotion when he was telling us that.
Yeah, if he is involved in the deal, and it's apparent that he would be if the deal does take place. And Chauncey's had a most unusual career, terrific career, but remember, he bounced around the first 5 or 6 years and then settled it with Detroit, MVP of the finals with the Pistons, and has turned things around here in Denver.
And George went so far as to say that Chauncey may have saved his job. He said, we were doing so poorly with that last team with Iverson that I think I was going to get fired. Smith missing the three. Of course, Chauncey ends up coming here. They go to the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago. And this has been a really good team ever since.
Nice fake by Wade to draw the foul. It is on Smith. So Wade to the line to shoot 2, and we go back to David Aldridge. David.
Well, guys, just to put a bow on the whole trade business, one of the reasons why the Nuggets wouldn't pull the players, because there was some speculation that the trade was going to happen on Sunday and that they were going to take all their players off the court, is the 19,000 people you see here in the building. They feel like they've got an obligation until the trade is done to have their best team out on the court. It's not just to make the playoffs. It's because these fans have been through the ringer too for the last 5 or 6 months, and they just feel like it would be, part of it would be unfair to pull their team and miss 2 or 3 games and potentially miss the playoffs.
Melvin Eli has just checked in for Nene. Now, Czar, Steve and I knew the answer to this. We were discussing earlier what has been the NBA's biggest trade of all time.
Is this some Marv Wonders?
No.
You're trying to steal my thunder.
2005, 13-player deal between Boston, Miami, Memphis, New Orleans, and Utah. Deal involving Antoine Walker. We will not run down all the players, but that proposed deal between Denver and New Jersey would be the largest in the history of the league.
You asked me a question,
No, I didn't
and
ask
you
you a
answered
question.
it.
I didn't, because I didn't want you to be embarrassed. As Harrington able to draw the charge. It's on Wade. Now I'm preserving the possibility of embarrassment once again.
You said, Czar, what was the... You said,
making the point.
Steve and I discussed this. We know the answer, and then you went ahead and answered it.
As David Aldridge said, let's put a bow.
Yeah, put a bow on it.
Let's move on.
Ty Lawson has checked in, coming on for Chauncey Billups as his first quarter winds down.
Seen a lot of zone here by Miami early on. Goes to that 2-3 zone, trying to force Denver to make shots from the outside.
And here's Lawson from the outside for 3.
I think the zone may be because of the fatigue from the late night last night. Maybe no LeBron, maybe Eric Spoelstra trying to get his team settled into this game without having to exert himself too much defensively. Mario Chalmers knocking it down.
Just a second remaining. Time has run out. That's the end of one here in Denver. The Nuggets with a 26-23 lead on the Heat. 9 assists.
Back to Denver with the score 26-23 Denver. It's time for the Coach's Corner presented by Ford with Eric Spoelstra. You played a lot of zone in the first quarter. How do you think you did there?
Okay at times, so we're getting them to take some jump shots, which we wanted. They got some second chance opportunities, but also some layups, which we don't want to give up in them.
Obviously, LeBron not out affects you, but with Dwayne Wade, he's been used to playing this way before. So do you think that it's as big an adjustment for you as it might be normal?
No, not for him, and we have enough. We feel like we've proven we have enough, and we just got to defend, get out in the open court a little bit, but be efficient offensively.
Thanks, Eric.
Okay.
And LeBron sitting out with that sprained left ankle. It has been a spectacular run for Miami. They have won 9 of the last 10, 21 of the last 23. Here's Harrington shooting for 3 to open up this second quarter. Lawson keeps it alive. Smith passes out a 3, has Lawson open for 3. And a loose ball foul is called. Joel Anthony battling inside, along with Mario Chalmers, Melvin Eli for Denver. And the foul is called on Chalmers.
I like what I've seen from Denver so far tonight. You mentioned before the break, Marv, the assist total, 9 already. We saw a wide open shot for J.R. Smith. He passed it up and gave Ty Lawson an even more wide open shot. That's a great sign for the Nuggets. When they move the ball, they're really tough to beat.
And you see that ball movement right there, though Harrington was not able to take advantage. Miller getting lots of playing time here this evening, coming on for the starter James Jones with LeBron out. Mike Miller, who's made it back from surgery on his right thumb, has been used very cautiously to this point by Eric Spoelstra. Bosch is fouled by Harrington.
There's a couple reasons for that. Number one, the thumb of Mike Miller is not 100% healed. The other thing is that they were going so well. You win 21 out of 22 games. You don't want to break up what's going well for you. You had Juwan Howard giving him very solid minutes. Jones giving him really good minutes, shooting the ball, taking charges at the defensive end. So it's tough. And the other thing, lack of practice for the Miami Heat. Miller needs practices.
Reminder, national coverage of the NBA continues Friday on ESPN. It's the Mavs and the Spurs, followed by the Blazers and the Suns. Saturday, NBA TV Heat and Bulls coverage starting 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And don't forget to go to NBA.com/FanNight and vote for the game you want to watch on NBA TV Tuesday, January the 18th. Voting ends midnight tonight, Eastern Time. Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, the Czar, Mike Fratello, David Aldridge. We're in Denver. Better than 19,000 sellout crowd on hand. J.R. Smith hits the three. And the Nuggets, so successful here at home. They've won 16, lost only 4, one of the best home records in the NBA. In contrast, they've struggled on the road, and Miami, one of the better road teams in the league at 15-6, and they had that 13-game road win streak stopped last night in LA by the Clippers. Here's Chalmers for 3. Bosch tips it back. Anthony puts the move on Chalmers, draws the foul. So Carmelo will go to the line.
Well, this is an area that has really changed this year for Denver, as you see the beautiful ball movement against that zone defense, leading to the wide open 3 for Smith. But you see Carmelo at the foul line in transition. Denver's numbers are way down in terms of turnovers forced, getting out in transition. That's what this team was really built upon the last couple of years. And you look at it this year, they're 21st in fast break points, 26th in points off turnovers. I think that's a result of the injuries to the front line. They haven't been as good defensively, and as a result, not getting out into the open floor.
Yeah, one of the other factors we need to mention why Miami's playing so much zone, it has taken Denver away from posting up and driving the ball. And Denver's the #1 team in the NBA in free throw attempts per game. They shoot almost 32 a game. Well, right now, they have only 6 taken because they're doing primarily jump shooting from the outside.
There's a jump shot by Bosch, rebounded by Smith. J.R. Smith, who was in the doghouse earlier in the season, showing up late for shoot-around. Plus Gary Forbes, the rookie out of the University of Massachusetts, had been playing well and was getting the time. Shot clock at 5. Anthony squeezed by Joel Anthony. The tip is kept alive. Eli gets it back outside. They have the new clock. Lawson open from the angle for 3. Another offensive rebound. Good job by Melvin Eli.
The only guy with any size up front right now is Bosch and Anthony, and they're non-existent. They're behind the backboard rather than being in the middle of the blue paint going after it.
Nuggets have their biggest lead of the night. Melvin Eli, 8-year man from Fresno State, signed as a free agent after spending the last 2 seasons with the Hornets. And Eli helping to control future Hall of Famer, Denver Nugget head coach George Karl, 7th winningest coach in NBA history. 1,007 wins, 299 victories as the Nuggets head man. So going for number 300 this evening. Miami in possession. Eddie House, who has not been seeing much playing time as of late. And Chalmers lost the handle.
What's one thing Miami doesn't do is turn the ball over very much. Second best in the NBA at protecting the basketball.
Lawson and Aflalo in the backcourt. Harrington up front with Smith and Eli. And a defensive 3-second violation called on Miami.
Well, the Heat have gone back to man-to-man after getting burned by some long-range shots with that zone. And man-to-man is really what this Miami team is about anyway. Obviously, without LeBron tonight, it's a little different story. But you talk to coaches around the league, and everybody will tell you, every one of them will tell you, the speed of this defense is shocking. Remember, Mike D'Antoni told us a couple weeks ago, he said it took our team until the third quarter to really adjust because they're just lightning. They get out in the passing lanes, they cause all kinds of problems.
Eli working down low and is called for the travel, and obviously LeBron James remaining back in the locker room. LeBron saying he understands he is an official villain throughout the league.
He's embraced it.
Yes. Well, he says he has, but he certainly has responded on the road to hearing the boos. Why waste that motivation when you're not playing? Why come out and be booed and sit on the bench? Here's Bosch, gets the roll.
Well, remember early in the season he was booed in Memphis, and he said, I don't really understand this. Why are people in Tennessee booing me? I didn't do anything to them, but I think he realizes now he's going to get booed everywhere, and he has embraced it, and he's used it as motivation. Playing much better on the road than at home, actually.
Oh, nice move by Smith. J.R. Smith playing well in this first half, and the Nuggets have a 35-27 lead.
And that's where the zone was good for Miami. It took Denver out of those mismatches of posting up some of the smaller players that Miami has on the floor now.
Chalmers, and he travels.
Well, without Wade and LeBron, you can see Miami is having all kinds of problems getting any penetration or any flow to its offense. You're going to see Wade back in the ballgame here now. But it just changes everything. Normally you get both those guys on the floor together, and there's just all kinds of problems that they pose for the defense.
See, during the regular season, Miami's right in the middle of the pack in the NBA at 15th in offensive rebounds given up to their opponents. You see Eli with a little spinning, turnaround, half hook, jump hook, whatever it might be. But tonight already, they've given up 7 offensive rebounds. Now, LeBron James averages 7 rebounds a game. But to give up 7 offensive rebounds in less than a quarter and a half, that's a ton.
Melvin Eli showing us the entire repertoire. House on a catch and shoot for 3. Dampier with the rebound and puts it home, plus the foul. Eric Dampier will head to the line, signed as a free agent following 6 years with Dallas, 7 seasons with Golden State. It has been center by committee for Eric Spoelstra.
Yeah, it's been interesting to watch their rotation. It changes every single night depending on matchups. They've got a lot of options with Ilgauskas, Dampier, and also Anthony as Bosch misses that putback. But no matter what they are trying to do from night to night, they've got an option.
Lawson with the layup as things cleared out as he went baseline. Dwayne Wade has checked back in. His Chalmers pass through the hands of Dampier, recovered by Miller. This was off to Dampier. Nice play by Mike Miller.
Yeah, they have to be very careful how many minutes Dampier plays because of his knee. Basically, he has bone on that knee. But already he's been big in 2 wins. He helped against Bogut a lot, when Milwaukee played in that overtime game. He also helped a lot against the Lakers.
Eli missing that shot, rebounded by Bosch. Miami getting involved in a couple of overtime games back-to-back against the Bucks and against Portland. Wade off the drive. That Milwaukee-Miami game played in Milwaukee before a sellout crowd was just a terrific game and a heartbreaking loss for the Bucks with Bogut having 27 rebounds. Lawson once again able to penetrate. He has 7 points and the steal. Lawson with the rebound. Pops it out to Smith for 3. Yes! Looked like Eric Spoelstra would call time, and now he does.
Just a careless inbounds pass. Nice job that time. Lawson faking he was going to go down court. Turned, guessed right. They threw the ball right into his hands.
Well, Denver on a run here, getting right to the paint with these 22 paint points already, many of them coming on.
Dwayne Wade to this point, 3 of 6 from the field. 7 points. His Miami team is down by 11 with 5.5 remaining in the first half. Wade pounding it on a follow. Rebounded by Smith. It's the first of 2 meetings between the Heat and the Nuggets. Miami has lost its last 8 games here in Denver. Melo not able to hit. Rebounded by Bosch. The Heat's last win in Denver, January of 2007. They did it in overtime. Pass intended for Dampier. It's a 2-on-1. Lawson from Aflalo. Beautifully done. Ty Lawson with 9 points off the bench.
Chris Bosh has to get a piece of that. He's got to go up and block that shot. At least make him change it by elevating and going up after the block.
Bosch played by Harrington. Here's Chalmers at the opening. Harrington with the rebound. Once again, Denver on the move. Oh, the spin by Smith, but he could not finish.
Now, this is the Denver team that we've grown accustomed to seeing the last few years. Getting out in transition, following turnovers and long rebounds. They've got all the energy tonight. And let's keep in mind, as you see that acrobatic move, he made that shot about 2 weeks ago. He had that exact same move that he made. Couldn't put it down tonight. But let's keep in mind, Miami played last night in LA. They arrived here about 4:30 in the morning. Back-to-backs here are so tough because of the time zone and the elevation. Bosch missing the jump shot, but the tip in by Wade, I believe. But you think about all the factors going against Miami tonight, and then you look at historically teams coming to Denver on the second night of a back-to-back. It's incredible. The record is just awful. It's almost impossible to win here.
That's a 3 for Harrington.
There's the record. There's what you're talking about. 46-9 record versus opponents playing on the second night of a back-to-back coming in to Denver. So the odds aren't real good with you coming in here.
Nice floater by Chalmers. Steve, people always talk about the altitude here in Denver having an effect. Did you find that to be the case?
Yeah, no question, especially the first run. You know, you're out there for about 5-6 minutes. Once you get your second wind, you're fine. But that opening moments when you're out there, no question, you can feel it.
I'm talking about affecting you as a broadcaster, not as a player.
I feel lightheaded from time to time. Anyway.
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even at sea level.
Most of us do. 49-37 Nuggets. 3 minutes remaining in this first half. Chalmers touched it last. Substitutions, Carmelo Anthony, Chauncey Billups. Get back in, and for those who may have just joined us, LeBron James sitting out for Miami with a sprained left ankle. The injury suffered last night in the game in LA against the Clippers. LeBron, 27 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists last night as the Clippers beat the Heat to stop that 13-game road win streak. Nene is fouled off a series of moves. He's hit by Dampier. First road loss for Miami since back November the 27th in Dallas, and they had won 21.
It's always mentally tough to come in every time. It's like, all right, we're gonna come in and we're just gonna take it to them. I mean, you know, after a while, some days, I mean, let's be honest, you're tired, and you know, coming into a home arena, a road arena on a back-to-back, you're not gonna have the most energy in the world. But usually, we find a way to win.
What happens when you come back, flying back towards the East Coast from the West Coast? You lose an hour right away coming from LA into Denver. So they landed just before 4 a.m. They got to the hotel about 4:30 in the morning. By the time they get their bags, get back in bed, you're talking somewhere 5:15, 5:30 in the morning. Eric Spoelstra said he got in bed around 6 in the morning. And then you've got to go through your routine. They had a 2 o'clock walkthrough in the afternoon with his team, watch a little bit of tape, and then you show up and you have to play.
What time was lunch?
They had lunch after the walkthrough. After the walkthrough, they had a 3 o'clock team meeting.
Did they have maybe tea in the morning before the walkthrough? Maybe a muffin?
Can you be more specific? So, just under 3 remaining in the first half. Nuggets with a 51-37 lead.
I'm feeling the burn right now in my lungs, to be honest with you, from the altitude.
You're a little lightheaded?
Burn. I have a burn.
You're such a baby. And Wade draws the foul. Wade is shaken up. Foul on Aflalo. And while we have a moment, let's send it to Ernie Johnson in our Atlanta studios. Ernie.
He's always been a caring guy.
He has. Ilgauskas back on the floor, gets it over to Chalmers, and for the second time in this first half, Chalmers called for steps, and that is turnover number 9 committed by Miami, only 1 for Denver.
And between the turnovers and the offensive boards, Denver now has 11 more field goal attempts than Miami does. So Miami's shooting the ball fine, but they're just not getting enough attempts at it.
Benet draws the double. Benet goes at Ilgauskas. Rebounded by Juwan Howard. Miami with a record of 30-10. Here's Wade. Was fired on a 3. The Heat in a virtual tie for the Eastern lead with Boston as Aflalo draws the foul. Hit by Ilgauskas. Aaron Aflalo, who has had an excellent season, had a career-high 31 points in the win over Phoenix the other night. 11 of 14 from the field, plus 9 rebounds, and he will shoot 2. Here's a programming reminder. TNT Tuesday, television's most fearless series is back. It's an all-new Southland. That's Tuesday at 10 Eastern and 9 Central, right here on TNT.
Sometimes you don't realize the effect of Zydrunas Ilgauskas at 7'3". Nene, who leads the NBA in field goal percentage, almost 63% from the floor, number 1 in the league. He's 3 for 3 to start out tonight, but now Ilgauskas comes in. What happens? He winds up changing his shot just a little bit. He winds up missing his first shot of the night.
Wade is played by Aflalo. Miller guarded by Billups. Here's Miller kicking it to the corner. Chalmers from downtown. Mario Chalmers with his second three-pointer.
Good feed from Mike Miller, too. These are important minutes for Miller as he tries to get his way back into this rotation. Lawson with the unbelievable finish over Ilgauskas. And this is the time of the season where Miller really has to try to kick it into gear and take advantage of these minutes if LeBron's going to be out.
Nice pass inside. Wade shot blocked by Aflalo. The officials checking with each other. Last touch by Aflalo. Getting back to Ty Lawson. He's a second-year player out of North Carolina. Last year as a rookie, a solid backup to Chauncey Billups. Gives the Nuggets high energy off the bench. Here's Wade, and he is fouled by Aflalo. And the question has come up here in Denver. Well, if Chauncey Billups is involved in a trade along with Carmelo Anthony, how would Ty Lawson do as the starting point guard? And George said very nice things about Ty, but says at times he's a little bit too laid back.
But he did feel that he had the potential to become his starter. He thinks he'll get there because he said Ty is flat out a winner.
Wade is now 1 of 5 at the line. The NBA on TNT will continue with a special Martin Luther King Day doubleheader. That'll be Monday. Game 1, the Magic and the Celtics, followed by the Oklahoma City Thunder, led by Kevin Durant, and the Lakers from Staples in LA. Terrific doubleheader. That's Monday night coverage starting 8 o'clock Eastern time.
If you watch what's going on out here, 54 points right now with a minute to go in the first half, and that's against the team that ranks number 1 in so many of the defensive categories, the Miami Heat defense. That's why George Karl had a tear in his eye when he started thinking about, talking about the possible trade coming up.
J.R. Smith for three.
And I think that's kind of the elephant in the room with the whole Carmelo thing, because this is a really good team, you know, and you look at the roster here, the roster in New Jersey, Carmelo's going to a very bad team. Wade with the finish, you know, go to the line. He's already on a really good team, a team that has enough talent to challenge in the West. He's about to go to New Jersey, if this is true, and play with that club.
It's not as if the Nuggets have a choice here, because if Carmelo says, I'm not signing a contract extension.
No, and I don't mean from the Nuggets perspective.
Right.
I mean from Carmelo's perspective. You know, it's one thing if, you know, he sees LeBron and Wade and Bosh getting together. He's friends with all these guys, and if that's what he wants to do, and he's a free agent, that's great. But he's not going anywhere where there's a lot of talent if he ends up in New Jersey.
The bad team that you refer to as Smith hits a long three, suddenly becomes a viable playoff contender because it's a backcourt if that proposed trade goes through. It's Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups in the backcourt. It's a front line of Carmelo Anthony, Brook Lopez, who has not played well this season, but things would change, I think, with a different cast, and Chris Humphries, who has played very well. And that's a playoff team to start with.
Well, yeah, but is this the team of the future? Billups at the end of his career. Hamilton only has a few years left. I mean, I would think that Carmelo would be thinking big picture for his career. He wants to win a title. He wants to go where there's already some talent. I just don't see that in New Jersey.
Well, it gives the Nets a chance to make other moves.
Yeah.
Because they have a couple of years. They move into Brooklyn. The season after next, Chris Paul is going to be out there. Other guys certainly might be available. Just a second and a half left in this first half. And as it also turns out, the Nets seem to have the most attractive offer for Denver because of all the draft picks they have.
And they have an owner who's willing to spend money in the future to try and bring players.
On TNT is presented by the United States Marine Corps. Well, last night in LA, in the loss to the Clippers, Miami gave up 68 points in the first half, and tonight they give up 60 to the Nuggets, a 60-43 lead at halftime for Denver. Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, the Czar, Mike Fratello, and Steve for the Nuggets. Just an outstanding all-around first half.
Yeah, the ball movement was great. 15 assists, only 2 turnovers, and then the second unit, just like the other night against Phoenix, came in, gave Denver a huge spark with Lawson, Smith, and Eli in particular playing well.
And Czar, Miami cannot be happy with their performance in this first half. Even though LeBron James is sitting out with that sprained ankle, it was turnover city, 10 committed by the Heat.
You know, they average under 14 turnovers a game. They have 10 already in the first half. And you mentioned, you know, defense starts with energy, and they are low on energy right now, especially when you see Denver shooting 44% from the three-point line. Miami's best in the league at chasing people off the three-point line, so the energy just isn't there.
Sloppy first half for the Miami Heat as we take a look at our game summary presented by McDonald's. Miami did shoot 46, matching Denver, but 7 3-pointers for the Nuggets. You see the job they've done off the offensive glass. I mentioned the turnovers, and you can see points off turnovers. 17-point advantage for Denver as we head to the second half. Let's check in with David Aldridge. David.
Well, Marv, assistant coach Bob McAdoo said that the team is fighting fatigue, but he said we can rebound better, and that's the thing that's going to get us in the game. The problem is playing that matchup zone, which they thought was effective, obviously leads to some offensive rebounds with people out of position. Said in the second half they'd like to get Chris Bosh a total of 20 to 25 touches for the game. He took 11 shots in the first half. They may want to go through Bosh a little bit more as the game goes on. Marv?
All right, David. Bosh, 12 points, 5 of 11 from the field. Same for Wade, 5 for 11, 12 points. Denver getting balanced scoring, led by J.R. Smith with 14 points. Nuggets ball as we get underway in the third. Carmelo Anthony, played by James Jones, feeds Chauncey Billups for 3. Rebound one-handed by Ilgauskas. Arroyo and Wade at the guards. Jones up front with Ilgauskas and Bosh. May coming right up on Bosh. This is Jones for 3. James Jones, who has played well, primarily off the bench for Miami in the starting lineup here tonight because of the absence of LeBron James. Martin with a standing one-hander.
It's amazing. He couldn't make 6-footers in the first half. He steps out to 20 from the baseline and just drains it.
For Kenyon, only his 9th game recovering from knee surgery. He has started all night. Bosch showing that beautiful touch. Take a look at bench points in the game. 34-12 advantage to Denver. Foul is called. That'll put Anthony at the line.
And in a game like this, I would expect Miami to make an initial surge here in the third quarter. They're going to make an effort to try to get back in it. You know that Eric Spoelstra lit into them at halftime, so they're going to make a push. Question is, can they sustain it? You know, we've talked about it throughout the first half, the back-to-back, no LeBron. I don't know how much they have left in the tank, but we'll see a good effort out of them here to start the third.
Foul by Jones, putting Anthony at the line. Carmelo is an 81% free throw shooter, averaging 24 points. 8-year man out of Syracuse. So the Nuggets back up by 16. Miami comes in with 9 wins their last 10 games, 21 of their last 23, and that road record of 15-6. Here is Wade, able to put on the brakes in the paint. Now single coverage on Anthony. Carmelo over Jones.
That's what he loves to do. Face up, take that one quick dribble, elevate into his jump shot from there.
12 points for Carmelo Anthony. For Miami, it's game 4 of a 5-game road trip, and Dwayne Wade has the hot hand to open up this third quarter. Miami will finish up Saturday night at Chicago. That'll conclude the 5-game trip.
I think that has a chance to be a special rivalry as Anthony knocks down the jumper. You look at Chicago's team defensively when they're healthy, when they have Noah down the block. They've got the scoring of Boozer. Derrick Rose, obviously a terrific player. Both very young teams that have bright futures, both in the Eastern Conference. That's something to watch, I think, for many years to come.
Phillips gets it inside to Martin.
Would you say that's something for Carmelo Anthony to watch in the future? If you're looking about, deciding you're going to sign a contract, you want to go to a team and you know that you got Miami hanging around for a few more years. Yeah. You've got Chicago hanging around for a few more.
It's a great point. Arroyo knocking down the jumper, but if you're Carmelo Anthony, wouldn't you say the West would give you a better chance to get to the championship over the course of the next 6-7 years with the Miami threesome? They're probably going to dominate the conference, and Chicago as well.
You're referring to the fact that the Lakers are getting a little bit older at certain positions.
Yeah, it's not discounting teams like, Oklahoma City. This is going to be very good. Arroyo again on the jumper. Miami making a push here. But, these things all come in phases and surges, and it just seems like the East is getting a lot stronger right now.
But that part of it is out of Carmelo's hands because we don't know what the Bulls are willing to give up. But because they do not want to rip into a very solid roster and a team that has terrific potential just the way they are set up. That's a 3-pointer for Aaron Aflalo. 4 minutes gone by in the third quarter. The Nuggets now lead by 17. Jones for 3. Rebounded by Nene. Denver at 21-16. They have lost 3 of the last 4. They had that 3-game losing streak, losing to the Clippers in LA by 13, losing at Sacramento by 20 as Aflalo hits the 3, and then they lost at home to New Orleans. That was the game that saw Carmelo Anthony hearing the boos from the crowd. He had a bad shooting night.
Well, that bounce-back win against Phoenix. Remember, they were down 12 at the end of the first quarter. And LeBron got booed every time he missed a shot in that first quarter. And then they bounced back and had a huge second quarter, scoring 44 points. And that game seemed to get them back on track, and they've obviously picked it up right where they left off.
Bosch on the turnaround. 16 points for Chris Bosch. Billups backed his way. Nene on the reverse. And he's pushed by Ilgauskas. 2 shots coming up for Nene. See the scoring leaders for the Nuggets. 14 apiece for Carmelo Anthony and J.R. Smith. 12 for Aflalo. 11 for Lawson off the bench. Nene with 8. Nene is having a career season averaging 15 points, 7 rebounds, and a 76% free throw shooter.
Yeah, this team puts pressure on you from so many different angles. You know, when they're right, when they're healthy and they're playing well and playing together like they are tonight, I don't know how you stop them. They score in transition. The bench comes in and gives them an unbelievable push. Then you've got the one-on-one ability of Carmelo, and they go to the foul line more often than every team in the league.
Ilgauskas from straight away. Chauncey Billups with 11 assists. That is already a season high. 11 assists without a turnover. Nene off the good ball movement. Yes! And the foul. Anthony with the assist. Nene back to the line.
Steve, I think that's what George Call's looking at, saying, like, what are we doing? We've got a team that could be pretty good. They're just now getting their big men back. Kenyon Martin just returning. Chris Anderson.
Where the Nuggets lead by 22. UNICEF has tipped off a campaign to raise awareness for the ongoing rebuilding efforts in Haiti following last year's devastating earthquake. The NBA family is lending its support, led by Haiti native Samuel D'Alembert and All-Star Pau Gasol, as well as the Miami Heat. Both teams wore Save Haiti t-shirts and warm-up suits before tonight's game. To learn more, log on to NBAcares.com. Marv?
All right, thank you, David. This is Nene back at the line, completing a 3-point play. Earlier tonight, first of our TNT doubleheader, Oklahoma City beat Orlando in a wild one, 125-124. 36 points for Kevin Durant, 13 of 17 from the field. A triple-double for Russell Westbrook, 32 points, 13 assists, 10 rebounds. And Dwight Howard had 39 and 18. One of the game tonight, Minnesota stops the 5-game losing streak, beats Washington 109-97. How about the Wizards 0-19 on the road as Kenyon Martin is able to score on the drive. And the Nuggets now lead at 83-58. Coming up on 5.5 remaining in the third quarter, Eric Dampier is back for Miami. Coming on for Zydrunas Ilgauskas. Bosch played by Martin. Bosch backs his way. Bosch. And he now has 18 points. Billups and Aflalo at the guards. Nene, Martin, and Anthony up front. Nice lead pass. Aflalo. Another layup for the Nuggets.
And that is 24 assists already for the Nuggets, which is, I think, past their average for an entire game. This is probably as good as they can play offensively.
Good job by Martin. Bosch got the shot off. And they have been on every loose ball. Nene, well, he was given the shot down here. Was backing up, and Nene hits the perimeter jumper. Eric Spoelstra takes timeout.
And this is frustrating for Eric Spoelstra. Imagine how the feeling must be to win.
President of the Denver Nuggets, Josh Kroenke, and on the right, Masai Ujiri, who is the Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations. In effect, the General Manager. He was an assistant GM in Toronto, working with Brian Colangelo, one-time scout with the Nuggets. I would think there has been much texting, many phone calls going on these days with all the trade speculation surrounding Carmelo Anthony.
No question. I think the key, as you just mentioned, Ujiri was in Toronto. Think about this. He's looking at Chris Bosh right now, who was with the Raptors last year and ended up walking. The Raptors got nothing in return. So he's lived through this scenario. He knows that for this Denver franchise, they have to get a boatload from whoever's going to trade for Carmelo. They have to do it, and that's the position he's in. He's got to go out, get the best possible deal.
Coming up on 4 minutes to play in the third, the Nuggets with an 87-60 lead on Miami, and an ace pass off the mark intended for Martin.
Just to get back to the Ujiri Kroenke situation, you know, it's such a tough position to be in when you've got your star. You really don't want to move him. Guys like that are so hard to find, but the key now, knowing you're going to lose him anyway, you just want to lessen the rebuilding process as Martin gets called for the foul. And so the idea is you pick up hopefully a young star in favors, if that's the way they're going to go. You get picks, you get cap relief, and with cap relief comes the ability to make moves sooner. If you're hamstrung with long-term deals, you know, it's several years before you can really make the deals and the moves that you want to make to get your team going.
Crowd does not like the call, a foul. They were looking for a clean block by Kenyon Martin, but Nene picks up the foul.
Well, he goes to his right hand this time. You see Nene rotate over, but it's Martin who stays with the block from behind. Nene takes away the front of the rim. Martin blocks it from behind.
Bosch to the line, 81% free throw shooter. Chris Bosch got off to a slow start, but has really come on and has been solid. He's averaging 18 points and 8 rebounds. Chris, a 5-time All-Star. A reminder, national coverage of the NBA continues Friday on ESPN. It's the Mavs and the Spurs, followed by the Blazers and the Suns starting 8 o'clock Eastern time. Saturday on NBA TV, the Heat and the Bulls. And then Monday, right here on TNT, a special Martin Luther King Day doubleheader. Game 1, Magic and the Celtics, followed by Oklahoma City, led by Kevin Durant, and Kobe Bryant's Los Angeles Lakers. Coverage starts 8 o'clock Eastern time. Off the steal, Melo picks it up. Aflalo is back. Wade gets it right back to Miller. Good recovery there by Anthony, not allowing the shot. And here is Wade. Rebounded by Martin. Nene stuffs. Denver on the break, able to take advantage. And they're up by 27. Arroyo wide open. Yes.
I'll tell you, Denver has made some really good moves the last few years. I love the Aaron Aflalo pickup. You know, last year from Mark Wilkinson, got him from Detroit after Detroit didn't play him too much as Carmelo knocks down the jumper. But Aflalo, I think, is going to be a fixture here in Denver for many years. He's a guy who just makes winning plays. He shoots a really high percentage. He guards his position well. He passes the ball well, as we saw on that feed to Nene. He's an all-around good basketball player.
Aaron Aflalo in his 4th NBA season out of UCLA. Anthony for 3. Denver is now shooting 55% from the field.
Well, there was a stretch there where the ball just didn't happen to find Carmelo's hands. And the last 2 times that it's gotten to him, he made sure he got shots up.
Nuggets now 10 of 20 from beyond the 3-point line, and Arroyo stepped out. So the ball back to the Nuggets.
You see the rebound, the long outlet pass, the bounce pass cross court. And that's a big man. That's your starting center running the floor for the easy layup. Nene with the finish.
Al Harrington and J.R. Smith have checked back in, as has Melvin Eli, who played very well in limited time in the first half, providing a spark. Off the bench, Mario Chalmers back for Miami.
And you got to think Eric Spoelstra will give Bosch and Wade just the final minute 50 here in the third quarter. And then you've got to go to the bench. You got to wave the white flag and get ready for Chicago.
Bulls Saturday night in the Windy City. That'll finish up the 5-game Miami road trip.
They'll fly out tonight to Chicago. I mean, think about
lose another hour.
The travel. I mean, these guys are going to be exhausted tomorrow and hopefully a day off.
Here's Anthony on the breakaway. Czar, do you have the Miami itinerary handy? He was so effective earlier in running it down from their arrival time last night, getting to the hotel.
No, but the doorman will tell me in Chicago, they'll call me and let me know when they arrive.
They seem to be your best source.
Yes, they are.
Harrington trying to kick it back out. Chalmers able to pick it off. That's a rare Denver turnover. Here's Bosch ahead of the field.
Yeah, 5 turnovers for the Nuggets against 26 assists. It's about as good a ratio as you'll see probably all season long.
Nuggets up by 30. Eli. Final minute, third quarter. Wade for 3.
I think Wade knew he was coming out at the end of this quarter too.
So.
He got that step into a 3 attempt.
And so did Anthony. Let's just jack him up. We're coming out of here after this quarter, guys. Get our numbers.
It's a 7-second differential between the game clock and shot clock. Wade had it slapped away by Anthony. Nice play. Wade on the recovery, and Bosch is fouled, and he'll head to the line. Nice fake by Bosch, which set it up against Harrington.
I think Dwayne Wade must feel like he did the last couple of years when they were just rebuilding and or at least reloading and trying to clear cap space. It was kind of a one-man show. Even with Chris Bosch here, you can see, I mean, those 2 guys alone would not be enough. I know this is a tough night for them with the travel and everything else, but what really makes this is the Wade-LeBron combination, especially defensively. And you see what happens when you take one out of the equation.
Eric Spoelstra feels that LeBron James should be considered as a serious candidate for NBA Defensive Player of the Year.
I agree. I mean, you think about his versatility. About the other night in Portland, he actually guarded Marcus Camby and played the center position for the final few minutes of the game. And then the matchup problem that ensued at the other end led to a huge offensive night. 44 points for LeBron. I mean, he can guard any position out there.
But didn't George Karl in the paper today, his quote was that LeBron James is the most talented player ever in the NBA.
Yeah, you see here's Billups on the drive, and he is hacked. So Billups will go to the line with 2.9 left in the third quarter. He did say, my apologies to Michael Jordan, who has won 6 championships. But he's referring to talent. I don't know if I would
well, he didn't say he's the best player. He didn't say he's the greatest player.
Talent.
He said he's the most talented player to ever play in the NBA.
I would say the most physically gifted. I don't know if I would say talented, because talented also brings into the equation shooting and skills. And as talented as LeBron is, he's not the shooter that Michael is.
So that's why LeBron said he's taking his talents to Miami.
Now
I get it. Final seconds. Here is Wade from center court. Back to the Pepsi Center in Denver. The NBA on TNT is presented by the United States Marine Corps. As we move on to the fourth quarter, 98-68 Denver over Miami. A couple of Hall of Famers getting together prior to the start of tonight's game. On the left, Adrian Dantley, assistant coach under George Karl for the Nuggets, and Bob McAdoo, an assistant on Eric Spoelstra's staff. Both prolific scorers. Dantley, you may recall, as Eddie House fires wide, took over for George Karl last season. J.R. Smith, who just checked back in, rejected by Dampier, and an offensive foul is called on Smith for a push-out. Dick Pavetta makes the call. J.R. did not agree. George Karl, we'll get back to that in just a moment as you see Smith with the move, and right there is called, well, I don't know, called for the push-out. Miller not able to hit. George Karl spent a good portion of the summer undergoing radiation and chemotherapy before he was declared healthy enough to coach this season. He started out last year with the Nuggets at 42-21, but after the cancer treatment sidelined George. Adrian Dantley took over. That's a 3 for House. Adrian Dantley, a tremendous scorer during a 15-year career, 2-time scoring champ, averaged better than 30 points a game, if you can imagine this, in 4 straight seasons.
One of the most unorthodox scorers you'll ever see, too. He's about 6'4", but he played like he was 6'10" with that low post game. Harrington knocks down the jumper, but you remember, Czar, he'd get guys down on the block and pump fake and had unbelievable footwork and a great touch. That slow release on the jump shot or kind of set shot, and he was amazing.
Yeah, it wasn't really what we have come to learn as a jump shot, a la Michael Jordan, for example, where you leave your feet and you're up in the air, 18 inches up. Adrian Dantley played closer to the ground, had a great base. I remember seeing him back as far back as DeMatha High School when he played under Morgan Wooten and was the best player in the United States coming out of high school as a senior, and just a great career.
Melvin Ely picked up the foul. So Eric Spoelstra has gone deeper into his rotation. Juwan Howard back on the floor along with Eddie House. Mike Miller getting a longer run tonight. Chalmers with a deep 3 just to beat the shot clock. 11 points for Chalmers. That's his 3rd from downtown. Smith gets a pick from Eli. Forbes, who just checked in, is fouled. Good look by Smith to find Gary Forbes, the rookie we talked about earlier, who started out at the University of Virginia, 2 years there, then transferred to UMass. He's out of Cologne, Panama, a member of Panama's national team. And Forbes played very well earlier this season. Got the minutes off the bench. Program reminder, TBS Wednesday from executive producer Ice Cube. It's a sitcom about one family's journey to get there. Don't miss brand new episodes of Are We There Yet? That's Wednesday at 10 Eastern, 9 Central on TBS. Here's House. That's a 2. He had a foot on the line. Eddie House has not gotten the playing time as of late,
but he'll be able to shoot forever. I mean, the guy will be 75 years old knocking down jump shots in a pickup game. We see another offensive foul. Eddie's an unbelievable shooter, and what makes him a great teammate, I think we're going to see a technical foul now on J.R. Smith. But what I love about Eddie House is he may or may not play, but he's always going to stay ready. And when he does get his chance, he'll knock down shots for you.
Well, what happened was early in the season, if you remember, Chalmers was not healthy. So Eddie House was in that rotation. Then when Chalmers was just about ready to come back and they were, around that 9-8 mark and everybody was wondering what's going on with Miami. When Chalmers came back, what Eric Spoelstra decided was we have to have either Chalmers or Arroyo on the floor at the time. We needed one more guy to put it down and break down defenses off the dribble. That was his feeling. So really, House lost his minutes because of that rotation change.
Juwan Howard. This Miami group on the floor shooting the ball well here at the start of the 4th quarter. The Nuggets now lead 101-79. 3 minutes gone by. Here's Ty Lawson. Played well in the first half. Harrington for 3. 10 points off the bench for Al Harrington.
Well, both teams are trying to accomplish something here in the 4th quarter. For Denver, you want to finish off what has already been a great game, so you don't want to let this lead slip. I think for Miami, you want to get Mike Miller going. You know Eddie House is going to knock down jump shots, another 3 there. But think about this, Mike Miller, the big offseason signing for the Heat, had the thumb injury. He's 1 for 16 shooting on the season. Eli gets fouled. They're going to need Miller at some point during the season, but he hasn't been able to get anything going. He's struggling with that shot. These are minutes where maybe he can get a couple things to go and find a rhythm.
Well, you can see he's not even looking to
the coaches, everybody just so focused on who's going to wear and what's going to happen, who we're going to get, and instead of just focused on playing basketball. It's not really something for us to worry about. It's more front office.
This is exactly what we had been talking about earlier in the game, the fact that every day you walk in the locker room, the players are talking amongst themselves. Each one tells the other players what his agent's telling him on the phone, what they're reading in the newspaper, what they're hearing on the radio, television, over the internet. So all of that goes on, and it doesn't go away. You're dealing with it every day instead of dealing with, hey, you know what? Our guys are starting to come back. We're getting healthier. We're getting deeper right now. We're in the playoff picture in the 7th spot. We can move up, maybe even get home court advantage if we keep this team together and keep getting better.
And you know, every team in basketball has kind of a life force, and that's the beauty of the game. It's not just, you know, what happens on the floor. It's the chemistry, it's the energy, the magic, whatever you want to call it. And it's impossible for Denver to accomplish that goal, that synergy with what's going on.
Offensive foul. So Denver gets it back. It is on Dampier. You see the Western Conference race. San Antonio on top. Denver in the number 7 slot. Here's Lawson. Rebounded by Eli. He's blocked by Dampier. House with Howard. Moving toward the baseline. Howard met by Harrington. 4 minutes gone by in this 4th quarter. It has been a blowout. Miami cutting into that lead here in the 4th quarter, but they have been down by as many as 32. Forbes not able to hit on that scoop. Kept alive by Lawson. Lawson challenged the 7-footer. Dampier.
He's really good with that move. You know, when he attacks the big man, because of his ability to elevate and his strength. I mean, you just see him. He's built like a fire hydrant. He just goes up and absorbs contact and finds a way to finish.
13 points for Lawson. House missed on a 3. He's had the hot hand. Smith with a beautiful move off the dribble and hits the reverse. J.R. Smith showing his quickness.
Well, we've seen people go up on the other side of the rim, but that may be the quickest one to come off the glass and back through the net.
Crowd buzzing about that move by J.R. Smith. Howard with a long hook shot, rebounded by Eli.
I can't wait till there's a stop in the action so we can see it again. Smith feeling it.
J.R. Smith 5 for 6 from beyond that 3-point line. He can heat up in a hurry. 7 of 9 overall, 19 points for Smith. The Miami Heat without the injured LeBron James sitting out with that sprained knee. Feeling the effects of last night, going back-to-back following the loss in L.A. against the Clippers. Here is another look.
You see, he just about gets it over the rim, but watch how quick it hits the glass and it's back through the net, coming out. Nice move that time by J.R. Smith.
J.R. Swish, as he is called here in Denver. Chalmers gets it away from 3. Rebounded by Forbes. His pass picked off by Miller.
And that's because J.R. Smith didn't run hard enough. Forbes wanted to get it back to him again.
House misfires from 3. Howard draws the foul. From a general manager point of view, Steve, when trade talks have become so for the stat line tonight for Carmelo Anthony, 8 of 17, 21 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Carmelo, the number 3 overall pick in the draft back in 2003, ranks 3rd on the Nuggets all-time scoring list, 3-time All-Star. He has led Denver to the playoffs every year he's been with the team. Helped the Nuggets to the Western Conference Finals 2009, and first career just under 25 a game. As we were going to break, Juwan Howard fouled him at the line. Steve, I posed the question from a general manager point of view. How do you deal with all the players who have obviously been affected by all the talk about a possible blockbuster deal?
Well, I think George Karl told us before the game the way he approaches it is just to be really honest and open, and I think that's always the best way. But as a general manager, sometimes you can't be perfectly honest about every single conversation. The problem these days, it seems that everything gets out there, and as soon as it's out, it's out. You know, whether it's on Twitter or the crawl on ESPN, and there's so much talk. As Smith is short on that three-pointer, but there's so much talk now that I think you have to, whatever you can do to let your players know that you're aware of what they're going through. You've got to tell them and talk to them and explain the situation. And if you do that, you know, it's about all you can do.
Czar, is Steve telling us that he may not be truthful all the time to us?
I got the same message. That's what I felt.
I am astonished.
No, Mike, I really enjoy working with you. I really do.
Let's check in with David Aldridge.
Guys, you talked about whether or not a coach really communicates with his GM. George Karl said this morning he only talks to Masai Ujiri every couple of days because he really just doesn't want to know all of the machinations and potential changes and trades and things like that. He said, just let me know when the deal is done or if the deal gets done, and he'll coach the team that's out there. He also said last night that he had to kind of succumb to reality with all the talk. It was the first time he really took an extended look at Derek Favors with the Nets playing last night. He said that he could get on a website now and see every play that Favors has had since he's been in the NBA with the Nets. It's not something he wanted to do, but he feels like he might have to.
Sheldon Williams gets it download of Melvin Eli. Thank you, David. Earlier, David reported that, according to a source, a trade is imminent, might happen by Tuesday, and would be that three-team deal involving Denver, Detroit, and the Nets.
I was sitting here tonight, listening to what David had to say and thinking, these fans may not realize Eddie House hits another three, but they're getting their last look, perhaps, at Carmelo Anthony. They have a game here Saturday night against Cleveland, then Sunday they're at San Antonio, but if it happens early next week, JR with another three, well, Saturday night could be the last appearance for Carmelo in a Nugget uniform.
Although we have to hedge, you can't necessarily close the book that this will happen because there have been so many different reports over the last month. And it's hard, it's hard to say to doubt David Aldridge and his source, but you just don't know.
You don't, but you do know it will happen before the deadline. It has to, from a Denver standpoint. Howard gets the tip in. And I think if you're Ujiri or Kroenke, you've got to take it all the way to the deadline. You got to find every bit of leverage you can. Find another team to get involved. Smith just putting on a show here. But if they can find another team that has a lot of interest that can make a legitimate offer, well, now it ups the ante for New Jersey. So they've got time. They don't have to pull the trigger if they feel like they can get something done, a month from now.
6 threes for J.R. Smith, ties a season high. The steal by Forbes. Oh, Gary Forbes on the breakaway, and the Nuggets now lead 123-91.
Bob, I've been watching our partner here as Eddie House tries another one from behind the three-point line, and Joel and Anthony with the bucket and the foul. I've been watching Steve.
After winning 21 of 22 games, are headed for their second straight loss. As we look at their upcoming schedule, they'll finish up the road trip at Chicago. Home games against the Hawks and the Raptors. They play the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. We'll have that game on TNT January 27th. And then a home game against the Pistons. So after winning 9 straight and 13 straight on the road, the Heat will lose a second in a row and will drop to a record of 30-11, while Denver will go to 22-16, 2 straight wins following 3 straight losses. It is a 30-point lead, Denver's biggest win this season by a margin of 34, and this will by far, as Sheldon Williams is able to put it home. This by far will be the worst loss of the season for Miami. Here is Miller with a nice move. Miami did lose by 16 to the Pacers. That was back in November. That their worst defeat of the season. Coming up on 2 minutes to play. J.R. Smith rebounded by Juwan Howard, and Denver will go to 17-4 at home.
2 minutes.
George Karl will win number 300 as head coach of the Nuggets. Howard rebounded by Anthony. Howard set up by House.
Steve, at the midway point in the season, you get around game 40, 41. Well, the players starting to think, hurry up, All-Star break and get here because we need to get away from this for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I think these are the dog days, these next few weeks before the break, as Eli gets another jump hook to go. And I think that's one of the reasons Miami has been a little sluggish lately. Eric Spoelstra talked about the fact that it's like a 7-game slide, even though they've been winning. Miller, another bucket, but yeah, these are the days where you're trying to find that energy, and the legs sometimes go, and you're kind of waiting for those 3 days off you get at All-Star break.
Smith with the catch and shoot for 3. The ball back to the Heat. Miami will suffer their 7th road loss. They're 15-7 away from home. Wayne Wade just 7 of 19, 16 points. Chris Bosh led Miami with 24. Denver with 7 players in double figures, led by J.R. Smith with 25 and Carmelo Anthony with 21 points. Smith for 3.
What was that all about?
Really?
He looked like he was running a fast break. He pulled up and stood still, let everybody run the floor, and then shot a 3 anyhow.
8 3-pointers for J.R. Smith. Season highs, career high is 11. Well, we have 35 seconds remaining in it, but House able to knock down a 3.
Come on, give it to Smith. Give it to Smith. Let him shoot another 3.
House with his 4th 3-pointer. He has 15 points. Well, he will.
So much for late game decorum, right? Aren't you supposed to kind of settle down late when you're up by 40?
House not able to hit Smith with the rebound.
People wanted to shoot another one.
Shoot it, JR.
That will do it. As J.R. Smith just dribbles it out. Number 300, well, he does shoot.
Of course he did.
The final score, the Denver Nuggets 130 and the Miami Heat 102. As I mentioned, worst defeat of the season for Miami, as they are now 30-11. Denver goes to 23-16. They have won 2 straight following the 3 straight losses. Let's go to David Aldridge.
Carmelo, a week ago in Sacramento, you guys got blown out. You said it was an embarrassing performance. You have come back with 2 blowouts of Phoenix and Miami. What has turned around?
We had too much pride for that, man. We had 2 tough losses on the road with the Clippers and Sacramento back-to-back. And we just want to come back and redeem ourselves, man. We was kind of embarrassed. I was embarrassed by them losses. We did a great job of redeeming ourselves.
This team obviously has had a lot to deal with the last few weeks. You have been in the center of that attention. How do you think this team, how do you think they are responding to you? How are you responding to all of this trade talk?
Well, I think they see me and they see how strong I'm trying to be, for everybody, for myself, man. I'm just trying to play basketball, come out here, still have fun, despite everything that's going on. And, they seem to be picking up on that.
Carmelo, I know you haven't said specifically that you want to be traded, but obviously it's out there. So why not make a declarative statement? Either I want to be traded or I want to stay here in Denver.
You want me to get booed some more?
I never want that for you.
Okay. I'm good, man. I'm here, man. I really don't know how to answer that question. But, for the meanwhile, until they say something that's happening, I'm a Denver Nugget, and I'm going to go out there and represent the Denver Nuggets.
You know that your teammates have said that this team, when it's healthy and when it's together, still has the capability of competing in the West. Do you think that's true?
I've said that. I was the leader of that statement. I still believe that. You know, today was our probably second or third game. Everybody's back healthy, and as a result, you can see what we're doing.
Thanks, Carmelo.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Marv.
All right, thank you very much, David Aldridge with Carmelo Anthony. Again, the final score, all Nuggets here in Denver. They win it 130-102 over a Heat team that played without the injured LeBron James. Coming up next, it is Inside the NBA. Be sure to check out TNT Monday for that special Martin Luther King Day doubleheader. And it's a good one. The Magic and the Celtics, followed by the Thunder and the Lakers, starting 8 o'clock Eastern Time. For David Aldridge, Steve Kerr, and the Czar, Mike Fratello, Marv Albert saying good night from Denver. Thanks to our producer, Mike Burtz, director Howie Singer, statistician Brian Taylor. Now to Atlanta. Here's Ernie